Very good morning, students, and welcome to the digital classroom of General Science. Dear students, in the last video lecture, we had started with a new lesson, lesson number 11, Human Body and Organ System. And in the first video of this lesson, we had finished with the respiration process. Just to revise, respiration is internal and external, and third type is cellular respiration. So these are the three types of respiration. Then we had studied about the respiratory system, the different organs, their structure and their function, like nose, pharynx, windpipe, lungs. Then we had also studied in detail how the exchange of gases takes place inside the lungs with the help of the alveoli, which are having a very thin membrane. Then a very important organ of respiratory system, that is diaphragm, because of which the air enters inside the lungs and goes out of the lungs. And today we are going to start with the new system, that is blood circulatory system. So students, let's start with the blood circulatory system of human body. Remember, this was the structure of the heart. The heart is divided into 4 chambers with the help of a vertical and a horizontal partition. The upper chambers are called as atrium and the lower chambers are called as the ventricles. So in total there are 4 chambers in the heart. The blue color represents the impure blood, whereas the red color represents the pure blood. Now the next is blood vessels. The blood from the heart is carried to the different parts of the body, and from there the blood, impure blood, is again carried back to the heart. So it is carried by the vessels which are called as blood vessels. So we will study about the structure of these blood vessels and their functions. Now there are 2 types of blood vessels, arteries and veins. As you can see, the color of the artery is red and the color of the vein is blue. That means red color indicates the pure blood and blue color indicates the impure blood. So the arteries, they carry the pure blood, and veins, they carry the impure blood. Now heart continuously beats throughout the life. Now because of this heartbeat, because of the pumping of the blood is continuously circulated through the blood vessels. So let's start with the first type of blood vessels, that is artery. Now these are the blood vessels which carry the blood from the heart to the different parts of the body. Now there is only one artery which is called as pulmonary artery, which carries the impure blood, whereas all other arteries, they carry the pure blood. Then the veins are the vessels which carry the blood towards the heart from the various parts of the body, except one vein which carries the pure blood from the lungs to the heart is carry the pure blood, and it is the pulmonary vein. Similarly, the artery which carries the impure blood from the heart to the lungs is called as the pulmonary artery. So these are the 2 exceptions. Now the major difference between the arteries and the veins is the arteries, they are deeply present under our skin. We are not able to see them. But veins, they are quite superficial. If you see the inner side of your hand, you can see the blue colored, very faded blue color lines under your skin. These are nothing but these are the veins which carry the impure blood from the different parts of the body towards the heart. The second important difference between the arteries and veins is that arteries, they do not have the valves, because the heart pumps the blood with a pressure, and these arteries, they carry this blood to the different parts of the body. But veins, they have to bring back the blood from the different parts of the body towards the heart. So there are chances of backward flow of the blood. Thus, they are having valves at regular intervals so that the blood cannot flow in the backward direction. See students, in the first picture you can very clearly see in the artery, in the cross section of the artery, you can see the lumen or the intima, that is the clear cavity, whereas in the intima of the vein, you can see there are valves which prevent the backward flow of the blood. And third important difference between these two is arteries are having thick walls, whereas veins are having very thin walls. Now, these arteries, when they reach the parts of the body, they divide and redivide into very fine hair-like vessels which are called as capillaries. Now, these capillaries are having a very, very thin wall, and their main function is to exchange the materials between the capillaries and the cells. So, if you remember, in the previous class we had studied about the functions of blood. In this lesson also we are going to revise it. So, blood carries the nutrients, hormones, vitamins, right, to the different parts of the body, to the different cells. So, this is done by the capillaries, and in turn the waste materials are also collected from the different cells through these capillaries. Now, these capillaries, they unite together and form the veins. So, the network of capillaries are present in each and every organ. So, arteries, red color, pure blood; veins, blue color, impure blood. Arteries carry the oxygenated blood. Pure blood means it carries the oxygen, whereas veins, deoxygenated, that means the oxygen is not present, and thus it is blue in color. Okay, and capillaries are very fine hair-like vessels which help in the exchange of materials. There is some information about the heartbeat. You know, when you go to the doctor holds your wrist and he listens to your heartbeat. So, in case of a healthy person, there are 72 beats of heart per minute. That means in a minute our heart beats 72 times. But if we are running or doing some exercise, or if we are very emotional, or if we are not well, that time this heartbeat either decreases or it increases. Generally, it decreases when we are sleeping or when we are resting. But in other times, it generally increases if we are unwell, if we are doing some exercise, if we are doing some hard work. Okay. Now, there are two types of sounds which are heard during the heartbeat. One is lub and the other is dub. So, it is a lub dub of the heart. And heart pumps about 75 ml of blood during each beat. The next is blood circulation through the heart, or how the heart performs the function. Now, the main function of the heart is to pump the blood. Now, this blood is circulated all over the body with the help of the vessels, and this is called as blood circulation. So, the process of circulating the blood all over the body is called as blood circulation. And to perform this pumping of blood, the muscles of the heart, they contract and relax alternately. This one contraction and one relaxation is one single heartbeat. So, in a minute, the heart beats 72 times. So, that means 72 times the heart muscles, they contract and they relax. Now we will study about the blood. Blood is a red colored fluid material. It is a type of connective tissue, and the blood is actually of two types, you can say, the oxygenated blood and the deoxygenated blood. Oxygenated blood has oxygen and deoxygenated blood does not have oxygen. The blood is slightly salty in taste and its pH is 7.4. Now, blood is mainly composed of two components. One is plasma and the other one is blood cells. Now, plasma is the liquid part of the blood, whereas cells or blood cells, there are three types of blood cells present in this plasma, that is the liquid part of the blood. This plasma is a pale yellow, very clear alkaline fluid. It contains water, proteins, inorganic salts. It contains globulin. It contains proteins like fibrinogen and prothrombin. It contains the ions like calcium, potassium, sodium. Then the blood cells. There are three types of blood cells. First one is RBC or red blood corpuscles. As the name indicates, the cells RBCs are red in color because they have an iron compound, that is hemoglobin. The oxygen which we inhale gets mixed and dissolved in this hemoglobin and it forms oxyhemoglobin compound, and then it carries this oxygen to the different parts of the body. And these red blood cells, they are produced in red bone marrow, that is the internal part of the bone, and their lifespan is about 100 to 127 days. Second type of cells are WBC or white blood cells, and they are also called as soldiers of our body. They are very large, they have nucleus, and they are colorless. Now, there are different types of WBCs present inside the blood. They are also produced in the red bone marrow. Third type of cells are the platelets, which perform a very important function called as coagulation of blood or clotting of blood. Now, these platelets, they are very small and they are disc shaped. So, in total, the blood is divided into two: plasma, the liquid part, and the three types of blood cells: RBC, WBC, and platelets. Now we had studied about the structure of the blood, that is, what is present inside the blood or what is the blood made up of. Now let's go through the functions of blood. What are the functions of the blood? There are so many important functions which are carried out by the blood. The very first one is transport of gases. As I told you that there is an iron compound hemoglobin in the red blood cells of the blood, and this hemoglobin carries the oxygen to the lungs and carbon dioxide from the different parts of the body to the lungs, so that the carbon dioxide can be eliminated outside the body. So this is the first function of the blood. The second function of the blood is transport of nutrients. You know, the nutrients like glucose, amino acids, fatty acids, they are transported by the blood from one place to another place. Now you know that we eat the food, it is digested in the alimentary canal. So when the food is digested, it is converted into simple soluble substances, and these are absorbed by the blood through the wall of the alimentary canal, and then it is transported to each and every cell of the body. Then the third function of the blood is transport of waste materials. The nitrogenous waste products which are produced inside the body, like ammonia, urea, creatinine. Now these are the nitrogenous waste products and they cannot be stored inside the body. So they are carried by the blood towards the kidney, and it is the kidney which separates these nitrogenous waste products and they are eliminated outside the body. The fourth important function is protection. Now, as I explained you that the white blood cells are also called as the soldiers of our body. So, it gives protection from the pathogens. Then there are antibodies produced inside the blood, and they also protect us from the microbes and other harmful materials. The next important function is transport of enzymes and hormones. Now, blood also transports the enzymes and hormones from the place where they are produced and the function where they have to perform. So, it also transports the enzymes and hormones from the production site to the place where it has to be start working. The next is a very important function, that is thermoregulation. That is, our body temperature is to be maintained at 37 degrees Celsius, and this is done by the blood. Then seventh one is maintaining the balance. There are different types of minerals which are present in our body, like sodium, potassium. So these are to be maintained. Their balance inside our body is to be maintained, which is again performed by the blood. And the last function is clotting. As I said, the platelets of the blood, the third type of cells which are platelets, they help in the coagulation of the blood with the help of a protein, that is fibrinogen, which is present in the plasma part of the blood. And this is one of the very important functions, students, because if the blood clotting will not take place, then the blood will continuously ooze out of the body and it may lead to death of the person. Then let's study about the human blood groups. I hope you might have heard about the blood group, right? So there are in total 4 types of blood group: type A, type B, type C, and type D. Then on the basis of one factor, that is Rh factor, again it is divided into 2 on the basis of Rh factor, Rh positive and Rh negative. If it is present, this Rh factor, it was first time observed in the blood of a monkey and from the species Rhesus. So Rh is the short form of Rhesus. If that factor is present, it is called as Rh positive. If that factor is absent, then it is called as Rh negative. Thus, on the basis of this Rh factor, actually there are total 8 blood groups. Okay, so in total we are having the 8 blood groups. The next topic is blood donation. Now, if a person suffers an accident or undergoes an operation, he needs the blood because the blood is oozed out from his body. So blood is donated, and blood is donated to compensate the shortage of the blood. So to transfuse the blood to the patient is called as blood transfusion. Now, from where this blood is brought, or from where the blood transfusion is supplied? It is supplied from the blood banks. Now, blood banks are the place or the banks where the blood is collected from the healthy people, and it is stored, and then it is given to the person who is in need of it. So, the place where the blood is stored is called as the blood bank. Then the person who receives the blood is called as the blood recipient. And the person who donates the blood is called as the blood donor. Now, if you remember, I had explained you the different blood groups: blood A, blood B, blood C, blood AB and blood O. I'm very sorry. You know, in the flow, when we start with A, B, C, it comes A, B, C, D. But blood groups are blood group A, blood group B, blood group AB, and blood group O. Now, the blood group O, that means if a person is having blood group O, he can donate the blood to any person, irrespective of his blood group. That means the donor can donate the blood to any patient, and the person with O blood group is called as universal donor. Whereas the person who is having a blood group AB can receive the blood from any of the blood group person, and he is called as, or the AB blood group is called as, the universal recipient. Now, when the blood transfusion is to be done, it is not that any person can receive the blood from anyone, right? So, there certain tests are to be done, but if a patient is having blood group AB, then he can receive the blood from any of the three blood groups. Similarly, if the donor is having blood group O, then he can donate the blood to any person who is having any other blood group. The last topic of the lesson is blood pressure. Now, as we know, the blood continuously flows throughout the body through the blood vessels, and it takes place due to the contraction and relaxation of the heart. Now, whenever the heart is contracted, a particular pressure takes place, and whenever the heart relaxes, that time also a pressure is produced. So, the pressure which is produced on the wall of the arteries during contraction, that is when the heart muscles they contract, a pressure is put on the walls of the arteries, and this is called as the blood pressure. Now, when the heart relaxes, the pressure created is called as diastolic pressure, and when the heart contracts, the pressure created on the walls of arteries is called as systolic pressure. And the accurate blood pressure of a person is 120 upon 80 millimeter to 139 upon 89 millimeter of mercury. Hg is the symbol of mercury. So, the normal blood pressure of a person is said to be 120 upon 80, and it can go up to 139 upon 89, which is a normal blood pressure. Now, 120 is the systolic pressure and 80 is the diastolic pressure. Now, what is hypertension. Hypertension is the high blood pressure. Now, when the blood pressure goes above 120 by 80 or 139 by 89, then it is called as hypertension or high blood pressure. Now, in the arteries of the person who is having hypertension, the unnecessary tension develops and the heart has to perform more function, more pressure than the regular condition. So, the systolic and diastolic, both the pressures, they are high in the case of a hypertension person. And how is this blood pressure measured? You all might be knowing that the doctors, they measure the blood pressure with the help of an instrument which is called as sphygmomanometer. As you can see in the picture, this is called as sphygmomanometer, which is used to measure the blood pressure. Now, there are certain informations given in the textbook which you have to read on your own, like the blood production takes place in our body continuously. As I told you, RBC, WBC are produced in the bone marrow. Then maximum 350 ml of blood can be donated or can be collected from a person during the donation. And the body, it's very interesting to know that within 24 hours, the body restores the fluid part of it. Then the pregnant women or the breastfeeding women, they cannot donate the blood. If the person is suffering from any disease, then also the blood donation cannot be done. And actually, the person doesn't feel any weakness or any other problem after the blood donation. Then whoever is above 18 years of age can donate the blood 3 to 4 times in a year. And the 1st October is observed as National Voluntary Blood Donation Day in our country. There is a small table given, the type of blood pressure, systolic pressure and diastolic pressure. You can go through it on your own. And this we had studied in 7th standard also, that the blood groups were discovered by the scientist Karl Landsteiner in 1900, and he was awarded with the Nobel Prize of 1930 for this discovery. And blood group AB was discovered by De Castello and Sturley in 1902. So students, this is all about the lesson human body and organ system. So with this we finish with the lesson. So students, with this we finish with the lesson number 11, and next time we are going to discuss the workbook exercise. So it's my humble request, students, please be ready with the answers of the workbook exercise, and also with your workbook, textbook, notebook, pen, pencil, whatever is required to write the answers in the workbook. Thank you so much. Take care of you and your family. Bye.